at the reapers, 14 through 20. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud was one like a son of man, having a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, because the harvest of the earth is ripe." Then he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth, and the earth was reaped. Let's look at that one real quick. The Son of Man, someone like a Son of Man wearing a golden crown. This is Jesus. We see Jesus is the Son of Man. He calls himself the Son of Man throughout the Gospels. And also the Son of Man is a reference to Daniel chapter 7, verses 13 through 14, where Daniel's seeing a vision of one like the Son of Man approaching the Ancient of Days, and all authority was given to him to rule the whole world. He's wearing the Stephanos crown. It is not a ruler's crown. So as far as a time marker is concerned, he's wearing the victor's crown, which could be his victory over here on earth. The ruler's crown is something that he's going to diadem, the diadems are what he's going to wear in chapter 19 when he's coming down to earth to rule. So this is prior to that. So we see that there's an angel coming out of the temple, bringing a message, presumably, not giving a command, but bringing a message from God the Father. Hey, the time to reap is now. He's sitting there ready to reap. He's got the sickle in hand, ready to go. Put the sickle in and reap. The word for ripe here, the Greek word for ripe here, is a word for something that is dry. So the implication here, some say, well, this is a reaping of judgment. And these people are dried and shriveled up and they need to be judged and they're going to be burned. Well, we don't see anything in here talking about burning. Actually, we don't see anything here talking about other than it's reaped. The reaper is Jesus, and what he's reaping is dry. And the harvest that he's reaping is likely to be, because the word that's being used here is likely to be wheat. Because you don't reap wheat when it's green. And even when it's brown, you don't reap it right away. You wait till that wheat head is starting to be parallel with the ground. So the more it bends, the drier it is. The drier it is, the more valuable it is. The better the wheat is. So the thought here is that Jesus is reaping the wheat. And the wheat is likely to be believers. But what's happening to these believers? I don't know. People use this to be a post-tribulation rapture. Right here. This is the verse, one of the big verses that they use. Okay? Well, I saw some verses before that said pre-trib rapture. Now these verses say post-trib rapture. Well, I don't know. But we don't have enough information for what's going on here. Maybe it is a post-trib rapture. Uh-oh. Or maybe it's something that we don't understand. I like that. It's something we don't understand. We don't have enough info. It may well be a post-trib rapture, but I'm not getting information about this. What I am getting information is about the next ones. Verse 17, and another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, to differentiate from the temple that's on earth, right? And he also had a sharp sickle. Then another angel, the one who has the power over fire, came out from the altar, and he called with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, "Put in your sharp sickle, and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle to the earth and gathered the clusters from the vine of the earth and threw them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out from the winepress up to the horses' bridles for a distance of 200 miles. Well, we get good information about this reaping. This is another angel that's doing the reaping. One angel comes out and then with a sharp sickle, and then another angel comes out, the one that's in charge of fire. You know that one. We get these little fascinating ideas that are not developed whatsoever, other than to say that this is the angel that's in charge of fire, but coming out of the temple in heaven, saying, hey, go reap from the vine. The Greek word ripe here is the word that is used for a grape that is ready. It's ripe and ready to be harvested. So the backdrop of this is highly likely Joel 3, 9 through 17, and Zechariah 12 and Zechariah 14. This reaping that's going on is one of judgment. And it's happening outside the city. The city there may well be Jerusalem. It may well be putting things together. I was talking earlier about the 144,000. Why are they back there? What's going on? Is this Armageddon? What is this? What's going on here? I can't tell you for sure. I can tell you this. At Armageddon, at the final battle, when Jesus comes down, a sword comes out of his mouth and he defeats the armies. Here, an angel's the one doing the reaping. There's going to be a lot of battles prior to the very end. These people, though, these are bound to be the people. We got a lot of drinking going on, and a lot of references to wine, right? The Babylon the Great, people, all the nations drank from her cup. God says, you're going to drink from the cup of, or the angel said, you're going to drink from the cup of God's wrath. And these people are being thrown into a great winepress of God's fury, and they're being squeezed. And what comes out is blood. Okay? Now here's the thing. This is the vision. Okay? So we can take things literally, but we need to be careful when we take things too literally. Some say that, yes, it will be 200 miles of blood that's up to here, the horse's bridle, 5.5 feet or 6 feet or whatever, depending on the size of the horse. Really. Thank you. But for 200 miles, it'll be that deep, and it'll be all around Jerusalem, and then the whole area will be just one giant bloodbath. Others say that, no, there's going to be a river that comes, and there's going to be so much blood that the river will be bloody. And others say that, no, this is just hyperbole that's being employed. Hyperbole being stating something way exaggerated in order to prove a point of it's going to be a bloody battle, which I think is probably more likely. And a lot of people are going to die. God's enemies are going to die. Now, when does all this take place? Well, by golly, we're still in that parenthesis from 12 to 14, so it sure sounds like, and this is towards the end, this is taking place towards the end. After Babylon has fallen, because either that angel was saying, fallen is Babylon the Great because it fell, or fallen is Babylon the Great, it's going to fall. I can't say for sure. All I know is that these events, as has been the habit in that one slide we saw, as has been the habit in Revelation, these events, and from the parenthesis, fit somehow into the chronological order of events that happen. So, when is the timing? Somewhere around the end? Pretty close? Close to the end. All right, some applications. You take more applications, please. Please, take as many as you possibly can. God is faithful to preserve his chosen ones through the fiercest storms. That 144,000 is preserved. Okay?
But there are some saints who die,
Yeah.
yet their works follow after them. So
Yeah.
they can rest assured.
That's right. It's just a body.
Exactly.
Do not fear men that can only kill the body, but fear the Lord that is the master of all flesh and souls, the creator of all things, the all-powerful and almighty. Remember Matthew 10:28. Don't fear man who can only kill the body. Don't put too much stock in your body. For those of you who are younger, guess what? Junk starts to fall apart. It stinks. And for those of you that are older, that didn't say anything to us, I'm not going to look at anybody who's older. You know, when you hit 40, it really starts to become a thing. I mean, junk starts happening. Yeah, thank you, Alice. Yeah. She's saying, you ain't seen nothing yet, kid.
That's right.
It's getting old is not for wimps. It's just a body, man. It's going to break. It's going to fail. Eventually, it's going to die unless you get raptured in the pre-trib rapture or the post-trib rapture or the mid-trib rapture. All nations are going to fail. All nations get drunk with the wine of the immorality, the passion of the immorality of this Babylon the Great. All nations are going to fail. And they're all going to join with the Antichrist, even the USA, if it still exists. You want to know where America's headed?
Yeah.
It's either not going to exist, and it's not going to be as big of a deal as we all thought we were, or it's going to exist and be part of the Antichrist empire. Yeah, well done, America. USA. Hey, look, doesn't mean that you stop praying for your country, okay? And it doesn't mean that America is the greatest nation, all right? Now, there are certain metrics where America is the greatest, to be sure. But your citizenship is in heaven. And we have a king who is coming. All right, but pray for this nation. Pray for the others too. The whole world needs prayer. Fear God and worship Him alone. Give Him all the glory for His creation. He's the one that did it. Did the Big Bang happen? Show me in the scriptures where it happened. Did it not happen? Show me in the scriptures where it didn't happen. You know what matters? God did it, whatever it is. You come up with whatever theory you want.
Where did gunpowder come from? Big Bang.
Nice. The worship of the devil and the Antichrist will bring about the destruction of the earth. God loves the earth. And He takes no pleasure in the destruction of the wicked. Okay? But God is just. He is just. Nothing will preserve the earth more than you following God. But this earth is doomed. It doesn't mean that you start throwing litter everywhere. I mean, be faithful.